Thank you. I don't think I can top the 1 billion thing in my story, but I think I have some interesting points about the first presentation from Willem as well, and this one. Before going in there, I like the viral part of last topic. So I play 2 games. My name is David. Currently, one of my favorites is Rhino Rush, the top one. Try to beat me. I had 3,500 meters plus. It's about a blue rhino that can lift on the back of a hippo or a T-Rex. I don't think you need to have more info on that. And the second one is CSR Classics. Not fully launched yet. It's in a test market in Saudi Arabia. But working for Chartboost gives you great benefits for playing games that are not yet worldwide released. But great game, similar to the CSR Racing, but then with muscle cars, which is my favorite cars. So I started working a couple of years ago at eBuddy, mobile chat application. I moved on to YD, which is a media agency where I learned a lot about online and mobile. Then I moved to Distimo, where the real magic happened from me in the app stores and in the markets. Distimo is a great tool to see what's going on in the market and gives you insights in what's happening. And I recently joined Chartboost a couple of months ago as Developer Relations Europe. The European office opened 5-6 months ago, and I work with many great partners. Today's session, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I believe are 5-6 phases in apps and in launching it. So again, similar to what you heard before, but with a different approach, which is interesting. I think some of my numbers are a bit more conservative, but nevertheless still interesting to hear about. I work with many great partners, and they all have great successes in the games and their apps that they launched. I hope today I will bring some knowledge in how you can launch your game if you're new to the market, or how you want to be successful in it. So I believe there are sort of 6 steps. Getting ready, test markets, launch the game, do ROI research, optimize, and the decline phase of your apps. And what I mostly learned is user acquisition is not a one-time thing. It's not something you start, you do it, you end it, and then your game goes further. It is something that you need to do in combination with the virals, with the video sharing, with the screenshots, and all the tweets that you do about it. So looking at the first one, getting ready. You need to know what's going on in the ecosystem. And Wilhelm already told a lot of interesting insights in the market, and I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that, if that's okay. So research needs to be done, and decisions need to be made on what strategy fits the best. So know the market. So my numbers are slightly less. Instead of 200 games, I say 150, but I think nevertheless it's sort of a similar range. 150 apps per day that are launched. It's quite a lot, and you need to be unique in it. So you need to look, what's my unique feature or my USP compared to my competitors, and how am I going to use it to stick it out? How am I going to use the creatives and make sure your USP is your focus on promotions and creatives. So if you look a little bit about those markets, and we already learned there's over 1 million downloads in the US. This is a quick snapshot of Distimo's data on last month's revenues, September revenues, on the racing and simulation category in both here and the US market. And you can see the racing category has 2.5 million revenues on the in-app purchases and roughly 2.2, 2.3 downloads. And the simulation category has almost 9 million revenues and over 3.5 million downloads. So the main feature that I'm saying here is do research on the markets, do research on where you're going to launch your game. Is it going to be racing, or can you also pivot it to maybe simulation, where there's more downloads and more revenues to be earned? And if there's more competition in simulation, maybe it's still interesting to get a smaller piece of the pie, but a higher part of the revenues. Or maybe differently, you have more direct competitors in simulation, so it might still be better to focus on the racing category. Besides knowing the markets and knowing the app stores, leverage the calendar. Look at the events that's going on. If you have a tennis app and you know Wimbledon's coming up, try to leverage that moment. Or Christmas, Clash of Clans obviously did it well, but many others. But also Halloween coming up the end of this month, Valentine's Day, winter sports, New Year's Eve, Carnival, whatever. Try to leverage that. Most important, I think we already said it as well, and I'm going to keep emphasizing it in this session as well. What can be measured doesn't exist. So always use metrics, use analytics, know what's going on with your app and with every aspect of the app. Define your key metrics. What are your KPIs? What's your ROI? What's your user experience that you want to do? And implement trackings at any point, so you always can measure what's happening in your game, and they can provide a lot of insights and optimization parts. Before launching, come up with engaging formats and use them wisely. Use them each individually. A video banner, already mentioned in the last meeting, or last presentation, is very good to do branding, to tell something about the game, how it looks like. An interstitial is nice to really show people sort of a suggestion. Hey, if you like this game, maybe also try this game. Banners, great to do incentivized results, or use other ones. And every sort of engagement format that you use, look at the performance of it and set different KPIs for it. A video banner definitely has a different purpose than your Facebook banner. Also very important, select your partners. I think this is already a, well, less crowded area that I put in here, but there's many partners and it's very crowded. Everybody does something about everything. So carefully select your partners, plan your budgets as well for each of them. Are you going to do incentivized or not incentivized? Plan and deal with the different partners and make sure that you use your partners' mediations, DSPs, agencies, networks to the fullest. My main advice is mainly 3 things in this. Look for control, transparency, and reliability. You want to have control of the partners that you work with. Do you have full access in what you do? Can you set up your own campaigns, your own analytics, your own KPIs or objectives? Do you have full access to the distribution? Can you see everything in detail? Or do you only see partly of what you're doing and is the rest up to the partner that you work with? Reliability, there's a lot of, well, I'll call it shadiness, but there's a lot of partners out there that you don't exactly know what they do. So ask around, ask your fellow developers, your friends, your partners, such as, well, already mentioned, the playgrounds and all the other people that are in this office or this audience here. Ask around and see what they do. You will learn a hell lot of information from them. So once you know sort of your test markets or sort of your beginning, you know your analytics, you know what you're aiming for, you've set your ROI goals, your KPIs, you implemented all your measurements and your analytics, it's time to go look at test markets. You don't want to use your full bazooka budget at once, so you want to search for test markets. A quick overview, our network's average CPI data of last month. You can see most test markets are pretty expensive, $2 plus for cost per install, but you want to earn or go for test markets where there's a high level of retention, and those are good in monetization as well. Set them up, and what I believe, but nobody's exactly right, but I believe you should aim for around 10,000 users as a test market. So you have proper set of data that you can use for analytics and search for your KPIs. After that, again, measure everything thoroughly. What are those 10,000 users did? Where did they get stuck? What did they buy? Did they buy the blue hat or the green hat? If you thought they were going to buy the green hat and they all bought the purple one, maybe you should change your in-app purchases. Maybe you should change the order of it. And how much did they spend? Once you know everything, time to tweak it before you go live. Because it's very important that you know your top performing in-app purchases. If you don't have that well in place, the next phase, which is the launch, can be, well, painful. You want to make sure you launch the game. Main message here, keep calm, it's showtime. Make sure all your partners are aligned. They are fully working and they're working full throttle in maximizing your ROI and the spend. Increase awareness, grow the charge, talk about the game, but in essence you already did your homework. You already researched the markets, you tested the markets, so you pretty well know about what's going on. So the launch should be relatively easy, hopefully. Besides that, after the launch, it's time to do ROI search. So take a look at where did you gain and where did you learn from it so far. Important thing, again, the ROI should be equal or higher than CPI, depending on your goals. ROI is, or lifetime value is the key, and lifetime value determines the CPI. If you know your lifetime value is $5, you can have a higher CPI compared to if you have $3 lifetime value. Maybe the lifetime value per market is differently. Maybe US, your lifetime value is $5. Maybe in Saudi Arabia, it's $10. So you can have a higher increase in CPIs in certain markets. Also estimate your ROE per channel. Take a good look in where is your acquisition channel working well. How's the network perform to the agency compared to Facebook, compared to Twitter and all other activities. Geographic, take a look at the different markets, as I mentioned. Take a look at US versus Saudi Arabia versus Canada. Where is your marketing budget going to? Where is it performing well? Where is there maybe less competition? And personal characteristics, take a look at the users. They act differently on different banners or different activities that you do. Facebook users do a different type of approach of your game compared to videos. So again, my point of view, how do you determine lifetime? I think the main message is, from my point of view, is not the time that users engage with the game, but it's the time they remain in the game. That's important. If you know that they engage with your game for over a month, that's fine. But if they only open it up once or twice, that's the actual part where you make the money, or you have the potential to make the money. Based on an interview or a sort of a report, day 1, 7, and 30 retention rates, if you want to be successful, we say roughly 40, 20, and 10% should be the aim that you have. So 10% of the users returning after 30 days. Let's dig into it a little bit deeper. Say we have 2 campaigns. We know the game has an average lifetime value of $5. And we bid a CPI of $2 versus a CPI of $4.50. With a $2 CPI bid that you can do in many different networks and companies, you get around 15,000 volume or installs, to be sure. So your cost would roughly be $30,000. Your revenue, 15,000 times 5, is 75,000. So your return is $45,000 on your app and on your promotion, so that's good. Second campaign, we bid a little bit more, so we get higher in the priority, we get more volume, we get 30,000 installs. My cost is $135K, and my revenue is $150. So we only have 50 cents margin on the volume versus the cost. So by the looks of it, the second campaign is less successful. What you want to look to is a viral factor as well. People sharing it, people looking up on Facebook. If we take, for example, a 0.8 viral factor, so every 1 install that you paid for, you get 0.8 install extra. And obviously this depends greatly on any developer. You can see that the first campaign generated 105K, the second one 135. So on the second one, you earn more money in the long run because you have more users. More users means more people that will pay. More people that pay means more money. So look at the long run and make sure that you have all the insights and all the learnings again. After you did your ROI research, things are going smoothly, it's time to optimize. You see slow declines here and there, and it's time to optimize your campaigns and your activities further. Refine your campaigns. Look at the screenshots or the creatives that you did. The left one, 7.5% CTR. The right one, almost 11% CTR. You didn't spend an extra $1 on the campaign, but your performance went up with 43%. This is an obvious one. Creative optimization is something you do. I would suggest around every 2 weeks or something, have new creatives in markets. Depends a little bit on the game. Creatives is an easy one, but also look at revenue per install. How many installs did you get and what's the revenue in it? Look at app optimizations. Which apps where you advertise in do not perform as well as you hope they would be. Block them out. Make sure that you have your channels optimized. Make sure that you spend the money to the right channels. If you use multiple partners, make sure you look at the partners against each other and have the highest performance one on top. And CPI optimization. I already mentioned it, but look at the markets. Look at the different countries. Look at the different earnings that you do in each market and make sure you adjust your CPI accordingly. Main message, don't gamble with your money, be prescriptive and targeted. So use analytics and use them well. After that, also look at the engaging part and understand what's the percentage of paying versus non-paying users. What's my average revenue per paying user, my average revenue per user, and use all these metrics into the next phase. Final phase is decline phase. You see your lifetime value slowly declining, and you want to make sure you either keep monetizing it or you have your next game already aligned. If you have the last, make sure it's your players and your inventory, but make sure you use it wisely. Connect a portfolio of games if you have multiple games into your game, and leverage your user base. If you have a new game coming up, already start promoting it in your current game that's slowly declining, and make sure you go to the next phase. Another part, start opening up your inventory. If you don't get the lifetime value anymore on in-app purchases, start using advertisements such as, well, many partners out there as well. Get the game into networks, drive advertisement, and make sure you promote your new game. So I know I'm the only thing standing between you and lunch, so I'm going to keep it short. And I think I did a well job in 15 minutes so far. Wrap up what I discussed. I think it's important to get ready. Prepare your lunch and do research well. Make sure you know the market. Make sure you know the category. Know your competitors. Know what their KPIs or unique selling points are, and try to differentiate yourself from them. Don't be a clone, be unique. Test markets and measure everything. Have the right analytics tools in your game from A to Z. Make sure you know the different markets, and at every market you individually optimized. Launch and see the growth. See the viral growth. Use all activities, branding, incentivized, and all the different partners out there to grow your game and make it into the top ranking. Research your ROI and lifetime value. Make adjustments. If you have a higher lifetime value than you estimated in the beginning, maybe you can increase your CPIs. Maybe you can have a lot more volume again. Are the campaigns running at their best, yes or no? If no, please optimize. Make sure they do. And already start promoting the next game and monetization part of it. I think in essence, what I try to say, and I think it's also the message that we see in the last two presentations, it's all about analytics, making sure you can measure everything in your game. That's it from my end. So I think I have a little bit room left over so we can have longer lunch and make everybody very happy. Thank you very much.